Hey y'all, I would have never thought I had to make this kind of post on my TikTok, but my family desperately needs your help. This is my little cousin, Javion Magee. He's from Chicago, Illinois. He was 21 years old and would have been 22 in a few weeks. He was found hanging from a tree in Henderson, North Carolina yesterday. He drove trucks, so that was his reason for even being out there. The police officers are trying to say that he went to Walmart and purchased a rope and hung himself. We obviously don't believe that, and we are just asking for your help to push his story out there. This isn't covered on any local platforms. No news stations, radio, none of that. So we're trying to push it out there. We really need your help. The police officers in the coroner's office are giving us a hard time, not allowing his mom to identify the body. At one point, they told her she can't identify the body due to COVID. And then the next day, today, they told her the father has to give her permission for that, which he said that he would. She asked if they could send her pictures at least. They told her yes, and then turned around and told her, oh, I don't think that you want to see your son like that. Come on. Like, this is just very devastating for my family, and we really need to push this story out there. So if y'all could please repost this video, keep saying his name, Javion Magee, hashtag justice for Javion, and we are going to fight for him, and we are standing behind my cousin 100%, and they're not getting away with this. So please share this video. Thank you.
Hello villagers, welcome back to another video here in Stacy's Random POV. And today, with a heavy heart, we have to talk about Mr. Javion Magee, the 21-year-old recently hired truck driver who just got his permit and was just on the road making a delivery to a town in Henderson, North Carolina. A lot of people feel like there is much to the story. The story is so heavy. But up until 16 hours ago, I finally found the video of him going to Walmart and purchasing said rope. But even that video alone, it just feels something is wrong. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a conspiracy theorist, something, but it's something doesn't feel right or seem right or all of the above, right? I'm going to let you guys be the judge of that. I'm going to go ahead and watch you guys. I'm going to cut it and replay it 3 times for you guys to see if you see what I see. Check this out. You see, guys, something is not quite right, but the authorities state that this is still an ongoing investigation and that the FBI has been informed and that they are looking into this matter. Again, a lot of people think that this is a sundown town, but we also got to keep in mind that not all towns that attack black people are sundown towns. Although this case also gives me Dominic Stewart vibes. I don't know if you guys heard about Dominic Stewart. He was a 16-year-old young man that was found in Mississippi hanging from a bridge. It giving the same vibes, but let me know what you guys think. My condolences, my deepest and my greatest condolences to Dominic Stewart and Mr. McGee's family. It is not easy to lose a family member, and it is not easy dealing with that loss. You guys, let's send our prayers to both of these families for what they have to endure, and I hope that Javion Magee gets to see the justice that he needs. Because whether he was set up or he was murdered or all of the above, or if he was coerced to do this, we need to know what is going on. What is going on, and what else, how much more can we take as a people to really understand and know that we are being set up? And I'm not going to go too deep into that because I don't want to get in trouble. But y'all take care, love yourself. Don't forget to subscribe. When you hit that subscribe button, you automatically become a member of my village. And you want to be a member of this village because this village is nice. We're respectful, we're friendly, and very loving. Y'all take care. I'll see y'all on the next one. And justice for Javion Magee.
I'm in Henderson on edge, gathering in front of the sheriff's office seeking answers on the death of Javion Magee. Just 21 years old, he just got his CDL license for a Chicago area trucking company. He was in Henderson making a drop-off at the Walmart distribution center and was found dead Wednesday morning off Vanco Mill Road, not far from his truck, sitting with his back to a tree with a rope around his neck. The sheriff today told me he doesn't believe there was foul play, but he wouldn't call it a suicide. He did say, however, there was evidence Javion may have bought rope from a nearby Walmart.
We're going down every avenue, every aspect, all the information, videos. We got in contact with the trucking company to get his GPS reading.
In the meantime, the sheriff trying to tamp down rumors that are swirling on social media.
The rope was wrapped around his neck. It was not a noose. It was not a knot in the rope. So therefore, it was not a lynching here in Vance County.
But those responses aren't adding up for Javion's family. A spokesperson for his mom telling us Javion always talked to his family and there were never any signs of problems.
A lot of this stuff does not pass the smell test, and that is a problem.
Now left mourning a loss from hundreds of miles away as they look for answers.
The entire family are completely mortified. They are hurt. They are, have a lot of questions, because they want to know what actually happened to their loved one.
And that is what we are trying to get to the bottom of. Right now, the sheriff tells me the SBI is assisting in this investigation. They also tell me that an autopsy is being conducted on Javion today. Once we get the results of that autopsy, then they'll be able to better determine whether this was, in fact, a suicide. But obviously, so heartbreaking for this family. The family tells me some are making their way here to North Carolina, hoping to try and get some of these answers in person. We're live in Henderson. Tom George, ABC 11, Eyewitness News.
Yeah, and hopefully that autopsy will help shed some light on this. And the investigation is ongoing. This is a story we will continue to follow closely. Tom, thank you.
So apparently the sheriff of Vance County, which Henderson, North Carolina is in, said that it's not what it appears to be on TikTok. Apparently the sheriff of Vance County, which Henderson County is in, said that it ain't what it appeared to be on TikTok. And we got the audio here.
I understand there's over 1,000 hits on TikTok. The sheriff's office not being transparent, not providing information to the family, and that is not true. There's been information put out there that there's a lynching in Vance County. There is not a lynching in Vance County. The young man was not dangling from a tree. He was not swinging from a tree. The rope was wrapped around his neck. It was not a noose. It was not a knot in the rope. So therefore, it was not a lynching here in Vance County. Give me, Sheriff of Vance County, the opportunity to collect the evidence, to process the evidence, and come up with a solid, concrete information that I can provide to them so they will have comfort in the death and loss of their loved one.
So if y'all ain't aware of this situation, we talking about Javion Magee. So yesterday I made a post saying that we wanted answers because his family was trying to find out what really happened to their baby. Apparently the sheriff came on the news outlets there and saying that it's not what it appears to be on TikTok, and it wasn't a hanging from a tree and all of this. It's just that the rope was wrapped around his neck. He said that his body wasn't disfigured, and right now they trying to do an autopsy to figure out what it is. My question is, why you going to the news outlets before the family? I don't know. I'm gonna let y'all make your own observation of that, but we still need this family to get answers, and it needs to happen quickly. It looked like y'all trying to hide something, especially for you to be black. Come on now, don't make me start it. We're gonna see where this goes, y'all. I'm just a messenger.
So the sheriff of Vance County finally speaks on the Javion Magee situation. And I find it kind of conflicting because he states that there's no foul play and he doesn't deem this a suicide. Then what is it?
So here's what we know right now. 21-year-old Javion Magee was a truck driver from the Chicago area who was found in a rural area off Van Gogh Mill Road, not far from his truck. The sheriff says he was found with his back against a tree with a rope around his neck. The incident raising concerns from his family back in Chicago, who are now on their way here to North Carolina. The sheriff says he did not see any signs of foul play, but also would not call this a suicide. He now says the SBI is part of the investigation. The sheriff's message for those with questions today: be patient. Don't jump to conclusions.
I understand there's over 1,000 hits on TikTok. The sheriff office not being transparent, not providing information to the family, and that is not true. There's been information put out there that there's a lynching in Vance County. There is not a lynching in Vance County. The young man was not dangling from a tree. He was not swinging from a tree. The rope was wrapped around his neck. It was not a noose. It was not a knot in the rope. So therefore, it was not a lynching here in Vance County.
Okay, so the sheriff says this was not a lynching. He goes on to say Magee did not appear to be disfigured. The medical examiner's office now conducting an autopsy. That's going to happen today.
Before I make this video, I know that half of y'all that are coming to my page are looking for drama. I want you to boost this video just as much as you boosted them other ones. The police department in Henderson, North Carolina is trying to cover up a lynching. Javion Magee, 21 years old, from Chicago, Illinois, is a truck driver who was en route and working in North Carolina, Henderson, North Carolina, was found hanging from a tree. He did not put himself there, and they are trying to make us believe that he did. These people are trying to say that that boy just randomly went to Walmart while he was working, got a rope, and decided just to hang himself. I don't know about y'all, but that sounds like some pure D bullshit. The coroner did not even want this boy's family to see his body. Black people have actively been hunted in this country since we've arrived here. They kept making excuses like, oh, well, you can't view the body because of COVID. No news outlets are covering this story. No media outlets are covering this story. So we, the people, need to cover this story and bring as much attention to it as we possibly can. So I'm tagging his cousin below that came on here and told us about his story. Please watch her video. Please boost that video. Comment, like, share, repost. Lynching did not stop in the 1980s. Lynching is actively still going on to this day.
On Wednesday, September 11th, the body of Javion Magee was found tied to a tree in Henderson, North Carolina. The very next day, his cousin took to TikTok to share his story, to spread awareness, and to ask for justice. For some reason, what happened to Javion is not being covered on the news properly. After the story went viral on social media, a local news station picked it up and received a statement from Vance County Sheriff Curtis Brame. According to Javion's cousin, the sheriff's office and the coroner's office are both giving Javion's family a very hard time. The coroner's office will not let the mother see her own son, and the sheriff's office have not been giving them a lot of information. But according to the sheriff, none of that is true. He is claiming that he's been very forthcoming with the family and he needs just a little bit of time to get all of the facts together before he presents anything. He's asking for more time. The family is asking for the truth and some transparency. The sheriff also claims that Javion was not found hanging from a tree, but tied to the base of the tree by the neck with the rope. According to the cousin, the cops have been telling Javion's family that he went and bought his own rope and tied himself to that tree. And that doesn't make sense to anyone who knows and loves him. He had just gotten his CDL license in June. He was turning 22 in just a couple weeks. Why now? They want the sheriff to do his job. They want the coroner to do their job too. His mother has the right to identify her son in that coroner's office. His mother also has the right to receive information surrounding her son's death. I'm hoping and praying that she finds some closure, peace, and justice very, very soon. I'm hoping and praying that she finds some closure, peace, and justice very, very soon.
Henderson, North Carolina, Police Department, Sheriff Department, and Coroner's Office. What in the hell have you got going on there? What in the hell backcountry shit you got going on where you down there? This young man right here, his name is Javion Magee. He is a truck driver. A little over a day and a half ago, this young man was found hanging from a motherfucking tree. And these police departments are trying to tell the family that he went to Walmart, bought a rope, and hung himself, yet can produce no video evidence of said purchase of rope. They ain't got it because he didn't do it. Okay? Then the coroner's office refused to allow the mother to identify her baby's body, citing COVID reasons. What the fuck is that? When has that become a thing? When did that start coming back? Where we're not letting moms identify their babies. Then they changed it from COVID to they need the dad's permission. Once the dad gave the permission, they changed it to you don't want to see your baby like that. Listen, I was a motherfucking firefighter. I've seen people who've hung themselves. Is it a horrible thing? Yes. Is it something that a mother can't see because it's too horrible? Other than the fact that it's her motherfucking baby? No. There's no reason they are not allowing this mom to identify this baby. Because here, let me tell you what I think. I'm going to tell you exactly what the fuck I think. I think this young man had the shit kicked out of him. I think he was fucking lynched. And I think he was hung from a motherfucking tree in Henderson. And the police departments, the coroner's office, the sheriff's departments are trying to come up with a motherfucking plan to cover that shit up. Because God forbid there's a lynching in 2024 in Henderson, North Carolina. Something here doesn't fucking smell right. No news media is covering it. Nothing is covering. So I'm gonna use my motherfucking million followers to cover it. Henderson, we want motherfucking Anderson. We want answers. It is time for you to let this family see their baby, prove with video evidence he purchased this rope so we can put this thing to rest. Because until then, we are going to paint circles on y'all, making you look guilty as motherfucking shit for covering up a lynching. Share this video. This family needs motherfucking justice. Scream Javion's name at the top of your motherfucking lungs. Hashtag justice for Javion. Let's get this family some peace. I am pissed off in 2024. This is even a motherfucking conversation I'm having to have. And if this does turn out to be something other than what they're claiming it is, you got a whole world of hell about to come down on you, Henderson. Justice for Javion.
So I do have some updates regarding the news and the coverage surrounding Javion Magee, the 21-year-old young man who was found unalived in Vance County. It wasn't directly Henderson from the news reports. It was Vance County. Updates concerning this story is that Javion, he was not found hanging from a tree from the initial reports about 4 hours ago. He did have a rope around his neck. It was tied, not in a noose fashion like that would make any difference. He was found with a rope tied around his neck while he was laid against the tree. He was not hanging from a tree. And for some reason, the officials, the law enforcement, they're trying to move away from the whole lynching idea because the tree that he was found next to wasn't big enough or strong enough to hold him up. And the rope that was around his neck wasn't tied in a noose fashion. Therefore, something else must be afoot. So there's that. The other update being that his body was actually found in Vance County and not in actual Henderson. Vance County is right outside of Henderson. Vance County, Franklin County, Granville County, Henderson sits in the middle. Warren County. So it's not like there was much of a difference. They were just being general, probably with he was found in Henderson. Vance County still, it doesn't change. Like I said, the Henderson, Oxford, Warren, most of this is historically black. Down even all the way down to Red Oak, down to Essex, down to Rocky Mount, down to Halifax County. All of these surrounding areas and these surrounding counties are historically black. We built this country from this state historically, from the railroads to the textile to all of that used to be black. I just want to go ahead and say that now. However, that black history is constantly getting washed away, destroyed, dismantled, land being taken away, being cut down, and businesses and townhomes and whole neighborhoods getting put up where there used to be 50 years, nothing but hunting areas and property, folks' property that used to be there. It's getting wicked. It's getting pretty wicked. They're doing it very strategically out here. And I've said this before on previous posts, and I'll say this again in closing for this particular news story. If it's too much, protect your peace, protect your mental, protect yourself. But protect yourself. Don't stay ignorant out here in these streets. We cannot afford to do that any longer. We cannot afford to stay ignorant to whatever game is going on. It's not a game. It's not a game. This is not a game. All right.
The police department in Henderson, North Carolina is trying to cover up a lynching. And we're not going to let him do that. We're going to meet tomorrow morning, Saturday, September 14th at 9 a.m. in front of the Vance County Courthouse in Henderson, North Carolina on Church Street. We're going to have signs, we're going to make noise, and we're not going to let them get away with this. Meet me. Justice for Javion Magee.
Black people don't get lynched in the hood. And hearing about Javion Magee and living in North Carolina now, it just made me think, like, there's way too many of us out here with that thing on us, if you know what I'm saying, to allow some shit like that to happen. Let me go back and clarify. I'm in no way, shape, or form glorifying living in poverty. The hood, and the way that I'm using it, is really just a placeholder for living in black community with people that's about that action. You know, it's crazy to suggest that it's usefulness in that street shit and the way that people from that life navigate, especially when everybody out here cracking jokes and making skits about these young niggas. But the reality is that white people rely on gangs too. Their gangs are just called police. We need some new sort of green book community communication that allows us to know that when we're going to these places and spaces, we are being looked out for.
Henderson Police Department of North Carolina, a word please. You see, I've learned in my short 27 years of living that 2 pennies, just 2 pennies, make sense. But do you know what is struggling to make sense to me as well as all of America right now? Why you, Henderson Police Department of North Carolina, would put out a story that Javion Magee of Chicago, Illinois, would travel nearly 800 miles away to take his own life in Henderson, North Carolina. It does not make sense to any of us why Javion Magee of Chicago, Illinois, would travel to Henderson, North Carolina, just to go to a local Walmart, purchase a rope, and hang himself from a tree. It does not make sense to any of us that you would deny his mother the opportunity to come and view her son's body. Henderson Police Department of North Carolina. It does not make sense to us that you would tell his mother she would need the permission of his father to come and view his body as if Javion Magee was a minor. This young man was 21 years old. It does not make sense to us, Henderson Police Department of North Carolina, that she said, well, can I at least see pictures of my son? To which you agreed only to turn around and say, you know what, ma'am, we don't think you want to see these pictures of your son. You're absolutely right. I agree with you 100% on that. I'm more than certain she would have wanted to see her son come home. But she wasn't afforded that opportunity. The least you could have done was pictures. And you couldn't even do that.
Justice for my friend Javion Magee, 21, from Chicago, Illinois, will be 22 in a couple of weeks, was found hanging from a tree in North Carolina. They telling his parents he went to Walmart and purchased the rope himself and did that. Won't let his mom come identify his body, saying she got to get permission from his father, saying she would rather, like, telling her that she wouldn't even want to see him like that she would rather get pictures. You people are fucking sick, and that is wicked. I hope his family get justice, and the fact that I grew up with him and I know him, I could walk around the corner to his family house, is crazy. That shit is sick. I hope y'all stop doing evil, wicked shit to people.
All right, guys, I want to bring a slight update. There was a slight press conference from Sheriff Brame. All right, so this case is about Javion Magee. He's from Aurora, Illinois. He traveled down to North Carolina to start a trucking job. He was found deceased sitting at the base of a tree with a rope around his neck and the tree. Specifically, they said that the rope was around a lower hanging branch on that tree and around his neck. Now, it was said that there were no other wounds or signs of a struggle noted by Sheriff Brame. And they said that they took him to the North Carolina Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. Now, Sheriff Brame did say that he did call in for the Attorney General's office and the State Bureau of Investigations. They have been contacted to help in this investigation. Now, one thing he did say was, quote, what looks obvious may not be true, unquote. I don't know if anybody went live with this right here, because I would love to hear this come straight from his mouth. But at least we getting some kind of traction. At least we are applying that pressure, because we need to get justice for Javion. We need to get answers for his family. And one thing that I'd like to say regarding this entire case right here, a lot of people don't want to hear this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. This has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with evil. That small town down there is majority us. And with the majority of us down there, that small town is dealing with an infestation of crime. Now, don't get it twisted. Just because I said us doesn't mean that we are the only ones doing crime. Crime happens everywhere. It's just that right there in that fish tank right there, in that little fish bowl, that 10-gallon, it's just the majority of us, and it's a lot of crime. But crime happens everywhere, so don't get it twisted. Don't twist my word. And the sad thing about it is, and I know you are not going to like me after I say this, but the sad thing about it is we are our own worst enemy. when it comes to us. We are fighting over things that we shouldn't even be fighting over, whether it's colors, whether it's somebody's property, where you stay at, where you live, what side of town you live on. It's ridiculous. We are taking our own selves out. We are fighting against each other when we need to be fighting the real enemy. The real enemy is sitting back watching us fight with each other. It don't matter who you are. We are fighting amongst each other, and we're taking ourselves out. All the enemy has to do is just sit back and just watch. So it's really time to wake up. I'm talking to our people. It's time to wake up. And it's time to wake up for everybody, black, white, whoever. We all need to wake up. Stop fighting amongst each other. But again, at least we are getting some kind of traction on this right here. We want full answers. We want to know what's going on. Why is it happening? We want to know, Sheriff Brame, are you going to control or try to control that population down there where you have a lot of crime that's happening that's getting pushed under the rug? We want to know, are you going to handle this? Are you going to be a leader or are you going to be a follower? We still expecting you to hold a full press conference.
I'm from Henderson, and the only thing I want to say is people keep saying that we are a sundown town. We are not a sundown town. Trust, we are not a sundown town. It's news to us what's happening to him. It's not on the news, but it's news to us what's happening to Javion. It's always justice for Javion because what happened to him was crazy, and it's so close to me. But, yeah, we are not a sundown town.
First thing first, I want to say RIP to Javion Magee. Condolences to him and his family during this tragic time. If I don't know what I'm talking about, 21-year-old truck driver from Chicago went to Henderson, North Carolina to drop off a load. He didn't make it back home. They hung him. They lynched him. 21-year-old black man died too soon due to racism and hatred. Now, the fact that we're in 2024 and we're still talking about this is crazy. We're still talking about lynching in 2000. It's crazy work. And then it's an election year. If neither of these presidents address the situation, that's crazy. Because they quick to call up entertainers. They quick to call up rappers. Women who can twerk on stage to boost their votes. They quick to do that. Both of them. They quick to do that. Now, am I saying every white person is racist? No. I'm not going to say every white person is racist. Okay? There's still some good ones left. But white people love to play, why do you always talking about slavery? It was 5,000 years ago. Please, no. Why are you talking about segregation? It was 80 years ago. Just get over it. This is why we can't get over it, dumbass. This is why. Because this shit happens every day. Family of the young man said that the police report says that he actually hung himself. Bullshit, man. We not stupid, man.
I want to help in any way that I can of getting the word out and getting more media outlets and people to talk about this case. So please repost either my story or other people's story about this and get the word out. His name is Javion Magee, and he's a truck driver, 21 years old from Chicago, and he was found unalived with a rope around his neck and the other end of the rope attached to a tree on Wednesday, September 11th in Henderson, North Carolina. Now, since this happened, the sheriff actually did come out and say, well, he doesn't think that there was any foul play, but he also doesn't think that the person unalived himself. I don't know what that means, but the family, I'm praying for you, and I'm so sorry for your loss. The family are obviously really going through it right now, but the police are not being any help. As a matter of fact, they will not let Javion's mother see his body. When they asked, the story goes like this. She asked to see his body. They says no because of COVID. She got a COVID test, and then they said, okay, but you need permission from the father. So she got permission from the father, and then they still said no. And then she's like, okay, can I see a picture of my son, please? And they said yes, and then they said, oh, we changed our mind. So there's a lot going on here that we don't have answers to yet, but please keep pushing this because Javion Magee was obviously lynched. Black people do not hang themselves from trees. And I want justice for him. I want his family to get the justice that they deserve. And say his name, Javion Magee.
Javion Magee. If you haven't heard that name, you need to listen. Please make a video, repost this, anything. Family is asking for more attention with this matter. Javion Magee was a 21-year-old male. He was a truck driver from Chicago, Illinois, and was found hanging from a tree in North Carolina on September 11th. It's being ruled a suicide. It's not making sense, though. He was found without his wallet, without his phone, and family does not believe that this was a suicide. Look up Henderson, North Carolina, and look at its history. There's a long fucking history of lynchings in that town. I don't know. It's not making sense. They should not have ruled this a suicide so quickly. Not buying it. We know what happened to him. And this town is trying to brush it under the carpet. Please don't let it be brushed under the carpet.
I need your help. Javion Magee and his family need your help. He is a gentleman from Chicago, Illinois. He was lynched in Henderson, North Carolina, allegedly. But the story is interesting. I really want you to Google his name. I'll tag his cousin below with her TikTok information and then watch her post. But something seems very, very shady. Javion Magee from Chicago, Illinois, lynched in Henderson, North Carolina, and there is something very weird going on with everything that I've been hearing. So let's get this out on the mainstream media, spread it all over TikTok, every other platform we can, and pressure this city, this state to figure out and determine what happened, because it sounds very, very, very fishy. My heart is with your family, and God rest your soul.